I'm back.
Let's have a party.
Ordinarily, I'd have attempted to engage anyone in casual conversation. After all, you never know what you might learn. But the Watchman... well, let's just say he was a pain in the largest muscle in my body. Have I got that right? Which is the largest muscle, anyway? Better check that later.
The Watchman may not have the best grasp of what's going on in the wider world, but he is very good at what he does know.
I've come to collect some cargo.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna swallow that, aren't I? I mean, you come up asking questions about cargo, and I won't tell you about the cargo. Then, miraculously, you're here to collect some cargo. You must think I was born yesterday.
Well, I can always take this shipping order to your boss and say that you wouldn't let me collect my cargo.
Okay. Well, let's not be too hasty, eh? I mean, I have to be skeptical, right? I'm a watchman. Where would we be if people like me weren't just a little bit cynical? All right. You win.
I eventually persuaded the Watchman to show me the ledger for the recent deliveries. The Milka had been carrying some wine barrels that were shipped to the Café Ankh and some crates under the name Varberg. According to the Watchman, they were collected by the Guild of Archaeologists, Antiquarians, and Tomb Evacuators. I guess somewhere was the von Uberwald crate that went with the shipping order, but the Watchman didn't know about it, and there was no sign of it in the warehouse.
We could visit the Café Ankh, or the Guild of Archaeologists.
The Guild of Archaeologists, Antiquarians, and Tomb Evacuators.
Or we could just ask around for a bit.
The Temple of Small Gods was Ankh-Morpork's unique concession to all the thousands, perhaps millions, of small gods that the Discworld was home to. Most of the gods were so small they never got worshipped. The spirits of lonely trees, or the places where two ant trails crossed, and they stayed that way because they lacked belief. Give a god belief, one follower or 10 or 10,000, and it grows up from the void into whatever fanciful deity its followers devise. Everyone knows that people need gods to blame for everything that is wrong, or praise for everything that is right. But they forget that every god needs people, too. Inside the temple, a bazaar of fanatics, lunatics, and cultists of all descriptions were trying to sell their faith to prospective followers. 2 salvations for the price of 1. Extra indulgences if you get a friend to join. That sort of thing. The lost and the lonely came here seeking direction. I found it hard to picture Carlotta amongst their number.
A whole bazaar of people. Yes, I can only see one person here. Maybe they're all going for a smoke break or something.
Malaclips drew attention to himself by virtue of the lack of crowds around him. Even the followers of Flatulus had a small crowd, but for some reason no one wanted to talk to him. It looked as if he had a metal fish hung around his neck. Who do you worship, then?
Why do you want to know? Who sent you? What do you want?
My name's Luton. I'm a private investigator.
You've been sent by the elucidated brethren of the Ebon Knight to silence me, haven't you? Their plots are so transparent. It won't work. I have protection.
There isn't an elucidated brethren of the Ebon Knight anymore. They were forcibly disbanded.
Disbanded?
By a dragon, as it happens.
Ah, that's what they want you to think. That was all faked, so that they could eliminate all their traitors and go underground. Even as we speak, they are plotting to control the patrician by putting mind-altering drugs in the palace's water supply.
Then it's true. I'd heard that you were the only other person who really knew what was going on.
What do you want?
I just want to learn from you. Only you can teach me what is really going on in Ankh-Morpork.
You don't fool me.
I don't?
You just want to steal all my knowledge and then use it to further your plans of glory.
Ah, but I know that you know that, and you know that I know that. Which means we're at a stalemate. And since you know more than me, you have the advantage in a stalemate, which means that ultimately you'll beat me.
Yes! Yes! I see. You plan to try and use me, don't you? Well, many have tried to use Malaclips, and I have beaten them all.
No, I can't hide anything from you, can I?
Very well, I will let you, for as long as it serves my purposes to do so. What did you wish to know?
Which deity do you serve?
That's a big question. Which deity do you serve?
I don't serve any deity.
Then I don't serve any deity either.
I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
Right. You first.
I serve...
You didn't finish.
I am forbidden by an oath of loyalty never to speak aloud the name of the person of the heart.
The ancient mystic order of... Yes, I know all about you. I know every conspiracy turnwise of the Wormberg, and all but one conspiracy hubwards of the Great Neff.
Your turn.
I am the proud servitor of Errata, the goddess of misunderstandings, the mistress of mayhem, the countess of confusion, and the duchess of discord.
You know, sometimes I think I'm her servitor, too.
You get a free gold-plated apple if you join this week.
I'm up for that. The Elucidated Brethren, which I believe were one of the plot points of Guards, and it also served as one of the primary antagonists in the first Discworld games as well.
Tell me about the goddess Errata.
There is no goddess greater than Errata. Have you not looked at the world and seen all the confusion and misunderstanding? Well, who do you think put it there? It didn't happen by chance. Nothing ever happens by chance.
So, every misunderstanding that has ever happened, Errata was behind them all.
Yes. She has started wars, and she has ended wars. Millions have died for the glory of Errata.
And presumably most of them believe they were dying for something else.
Oh, yes. The goddess is shrewd in her ways.
She must be very powerful.
There is no goddess more powerful than Errata.
Then why doesn't she just make everyone into her follower?
Let me tell you something, Luton. Everyone is a follower of Errata. They just don't know it.
How come you know that you're a follower of Errata?
I only think I'm a follower of Errata. I might be a follower of someone else, and I wouldn't even know it.
Errata thinks of everything, doesn't she? So, is there a formal church of Errata?
I am the formal church of Errata. I hold her sacred emblem.
And what would that be?
The scarlet totem that I wear around my neck.
And how do you go about joining the church?
I told you! Everyone is part of the Church of Errata. They just don't know it.
You said you knew all but one conspiracy, Hubwards of the Great Neff. What's the one conspiracy you don't know?
If I knew that, I would know all the conspiracies, wouldn't I?
You don't know anything about that one conspiracy.
Nothing.
Then how do you know that there is another conspiracy?
Because when I put all the other conspiracies together, I can see the pieces missing.
In other words, you can tell there's a conspiracy because you can't see it.
Everything casts a shadow, Luton. At least of some kind.
What if the missing pieces are a ruse by one of the conspiracies you do know about to try and distract you from paying attention to what they're doing?
No, that's too far-fetched.
Yeah, of course it is. Right, let's start from the beginning. We have a lot to discuss.
Does the word Azil mean anything to you?
Azil? Yes! He was an Ascari in the Great Neff a couple of centuries ago, involved in the Great Light Dam conspiracy, which culminated in the theft of 12 barrels of light from the sacred distilleries of E, the Lost City.
Makes sense to me.
Why was Mundy hung upside down when he was murdered? And why were his eyes poked out?
His body was offered up as a sacrifice to the creatures of the dungeon dimensions, the fetid obscenities from beyond time and space. Except Errata caused them to get their rituals confused, otherwise the city would be crawling with Helpspawn right now.
Okay. I'm not going to rule it out, but we will discuss other avenues first.
What does 3712V mean to you?
It's the combination to the phantasmal vault of Capsicum. Even the lowliest neophyte of Errata knows that.
Do you know a woman by the name of Carlotta von Uberwald? Have you seen her around the temple?
Oh, yes. I know her. She's part of one of the darkest conspiracies, and they're plotting to take over the world by stealing the lost treasures of Errata and turning them towards a dark purpose. Don't trust her, Luton. Trust no one.
You know about Mundy's murder?
Of course.
Was she here when he was killed?
Yes. Yes, she was.
That may have been to provide an alibi. Just because she didn't kill him directly doesn't mean that she wasn't part of it.
Do you know Al Kali?
The dwarf? Yes, he's an associate of Horst's. A minor player in the greater scheme of things, but dangerous nonetheless.
Do you know Malachite?
They're planning to have him killed.
They? Who are they?
Nobody knows who they are. Only they know who they are. Maybe. I think they're the same ones who are putting poison in the beer.
Do you know a woman named Ilsa and a man named Two Conkers?
No.
No? I thought you knew everything.
Not everyone is important in the grand scheme.
Tell me about the counterweight killings.
Rumor has it that the Sun Emperor's private assassin is here in Ankh-Morpork, silencing those who have found out about the conspiracy to keep the Agatean Empire out of the secret trade talks at Ecclepon, thus ensuring that the counterweight continent's stature in the world economy is weakened.
Hold on, slow down a minute. Who's the Sun Emperor?
The ruler of the Agatean Empire, of course.
The Agatean Empire? That's on the counterweight continent, is it?
Shh! Not so loud. Don't you know about the patrician's conspiracy to deny the existence of the counterweight continent to the populace? He could have us killed just for talking about it.
But everyone knows that the counterweight continent is real. We had a tourist from there a couple of years ago.
Privately, everyone knows, yes. But publicly, it's still just a legend. And the patrician makes sure it stays that way.
So what you're telling me is that an assassin from a nation that publicly doesn't exist is here killing off certain influential figures.
Exactly!
And all this has to do with a trade meeting at Ecclepon.
Apparently, there may be more to it than that.
Why Ecclepon? That's hundreds of leagues away.
Yes, but Ecclepon is the nearest port to the Akkadian Empire. And agents of the Ochre Revolution from the counterweight continent are going to be at the meeting.
I see. Do you know anything about Reagan's murder?
Reagan was secretly a member of the Dwarfish Tongs. He was rubbed out in a gangland skirmish between the Shin-Kicker Triad and the Neck Cleaver Elite.
What can you tell me about Jesper Horst?
Horst is a major player in several conspiracies. The Brindisian Illuminati are still after him for stealing the unholy pail. Certainly not someone to be messed with.
What do you know about a golden sword?
Sword? Sword? You are not worthy to talk of that. Be silent, lest I smite you. Never speak of the sword again until you have proved yourself worthy in the eyes of Errata.
And how do we go about doing that?
The Milka had been carrying some wine barrels that were shipped to the Café Ankh. The Milka brought some interesting cargo into Ankh-Morpork, I heard.
Oh, yes. Most people know that the Milka is part of the advanced fleet for the Klatchian Navy, but not everyone knows that they are smuggling top-grade Klatchian pornography into the city. It's all part of the Brindisian Illuminati's plot to corrupt the moral minority and make Ankh-Morpork the most depraved city on the Discworld.
It's already the most depraved city on the Discworld.
Now you see what we're up against. Actually, the porn wasn't a patch on the homemade stuff.
We ask the same question and get the same response for these two topics here.
Somewhere between the Milka and the warehouse, Carlotta's crate had disappeared. According to Carlotta, it wasn't important, but I still wanted to know where it was. The Milka had been carrying crates under the name Varberg, and those crates were now in the Guild of Archaeologists. Do you know what this is?
It's a Hersheben groat.
What's a Hersheben groat worth?
Nothing. Unless you want to hire a member of the Hashishim, the first assassins.
The Hashishim?
The original assassins. A band of mad killers who are feared throughout Hubwood Clatch. They derived their name from the huge quantities of hashish they consumed. They are unique among killers in being both deadly and, at the same time, inclined to giggle and wear beads. The ones with the flared trousers are the most deadly of all.
And you'd pay one with a Hersheben groat?
No, but if you give it to one, he'll stare at it for hours and leave you alone.
Any reason you can think of why a person would keep an empty envelope safe?
Just because it looks empty doesn't mean it is. There could be a hyperspatial vortex in there, a link to some trans-dimensional cache.
Nope, I'm pretty sure it's just an empty envelope. Does this charm bracelet mean anything to you?
Well, it's a Gluckding carved out of serendipitous redwood from Uberwald, I'd guess.
What does it do?
It brings luck.
Good luck or bad luck?
Both. First, it brings good luck, little stacks of felicitous circumstances. But sooner or later, the wielder pays for any good luck with a massive dose of bad luck. A giant omelette of doom, delivered by a mad god.
Great. A mad god's omelette. Do you want it?
Are you insane? Give it to someone who's desperate.
I'll have to go. The truth is out there.
Trust no one.
So if this charm is in our possession, does that mean we're going to have a build-up of some good luck? And then one massive dose of bad luck? I suppose dying is a really big case of bad luck.
Most of the statues were a mystery to me, but I recognized the odd face. There was Zephyrus, the god of slight breezes, and Lamentatio, the goddess of interminable opera. I thought I could see FedEx, messenger of the gods, in one corner. It would have been satisfying to smash up one of the statues, but it would probably have caused a lot of trouble.
I'm trying to work out the proportions of this statue here. Is this the eye? And is this a beak? Or is this an ear?
Religious emblems were scattered throughout the place. The sacred lace of Hyperopia, the goddess of shoes. The holy trolley of Mr. Safeway. The blessed chamber pot of the whinging martyrs of Constipata. Anything could become a sacred relic if you weren't careful enough.
Safeways. Is there still Safeways in England? But they are, or were, a supermarket chain.
I didn't need a totem, and I wouldn't steal one from here even if I did.
Actually, I believe Safeways is an American company, so... In England, I believe they have been bought up by Morrison's. But anyway, that's not important.
Behind Mooncalf was a beautiful stained glass window depicting Morphine, the angel of dreams, passing the recipe for the Discworld's first pizza to a mortal. If I strained, I thought I could just about see a bay leaf on the pizza.
I was drawn to Mooncalf by his religious fervor. He was the kind of man who wouldn't miss a single event in the temple, no matter how trivial. He also struck me as the kind of fanatic who knew 100 words for infidel, and not one for compromise.
You with the hat. Have you accepted Anu into your heart?
The name isn't you with the hat, it's Luton. And no, I haven't accepted Anu into my heart. Why should I?
For it is written in the book of Kelpie, he who has not the spirit of Anu in his heart shall have his heart eaten by the Divine One on the day of judgment.
I'll take that chance.
Or you may mock, infidel, but the day of judgment is coming, mark my words. The signs are clear, the omens are unquestionable, the stars are right and the auguries are undeniable.
What about the auspices?
The auspices are fair to light with a small chance of judgment day later in the eon.
I think you're taking the auspice. So, here I am, a fresh punter. Why should I choose your religion over anyone else's?
Because Anu is the true god of gods, more mighty and strong than all the others put together.
About half the gods in this temple alone claim to be the true god of gods.
But Anu reveals himself through his divine miracles.
Such as?
Ever looked at your thumb? Ever really thought about it? Ever considered what you couldn't do if you didn't have a thumb?
Anu is the god of thumbs?
No, but Anu bites away the thumbs of the non-believer.
I'm not convinced. Anything else?
Join the cult of Anu now to receive a free faux pearl statuette of the great god Anu, a $90 value, absolutely free. Be the envy of your friends as they roast in the fires of Sogorop.
Thanks, but I'll pass.
Can we join both, or will that be a conflict of interest?
So what is Anu the god of?
Anu is above being bound to one single concept or idea. He is power incarnate.
Come on, level with me. What is he the god of?
It's not to be discussed with non-believers.
So this is less of a religion and more of a lucky dip.
Oh, I feel sorry for you on Judgment Day.
You keep mentioning Judgment Day. What do you mean?
Mark my words, it's coming. Darkness and evil shall descend on this city, and fetid corruption shall consume the very souls of the unbelievers. Only the followers of Anu Anu shall be saved.
Darkness and evil? How exactly are we going to tell Judgment Day from any other day in Ankh-Morpork?
By the time you realize what's going on, it shall be too late.
It generally is. Did your church buy that window?
We are not a church, we're a cult.
What's the difference?
Demographics. Churches appeal to the high society element. Good for funding, but bad for grassroots support. Now, your average cult has much more of a street-level membership. Not so much money, but easier to get things done.
Well, did your cult buy that window?
No. It was purchased by the Eternal Seers of Revelation Joe many years ago. It depicts the moment when the Divine Prophet was given the recipe for pizza by the Creator.
How come you're working in front of it?
The Eternal Seers ran out of support decades ago.
It figures. Now let me get this straight. The Eternal Seers of Revelation Joe worshipped pizza.
No, my child. The legends say that the first pizza was created by the Klatchian mystic Ronron Revelation Joe Sawadi, who claimed to have been given the recipe in a dream by the creator of the Discworld himself. Allegedly, the creator said that the pizza was what he had intended all along. Those who have seen the original say that what the creator had in mind was a small cheese and pepperoni affair, with a few black olives, and things like mountains and seas got added out of last-minute enthusiasm, as so often happens.
So who were the Eternal Seers?
The survivors of the schism of the Turnwise Ones and the resulting Grand Jihad.
Grand Jihad?
Yes. After the deaths of some 25,000 people, the faithful were allowed to add one small bay leaf to the recipe.
So is this divine figure in the window the creator?
Oh no. It is blasphemy for any to depict the rat face of the creator.
Because of his divine stature?
No. Because it is clear that world creation is not a divine act, but a rather straightforward mechanical function. Hence, to praise the creator would be blasphemy.
How does the creator feel about that?
He seems content. He's had some success with his design, apparently. The details are sketchy.
Mooncarf is not as informative as Malacalypse, so we need to be more limited in our questions.
What can you tell me about a golden sword?
Ha 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 ha! You should talk to Malaclypse, the mad priest over on the other side of the temple. I'm sure he'd be delighted to talk to you about golden swords.
Do you know anything about the wine barrels the Milka was carrying?
I prefer to involve myself with more spiritual matters.
Have you heard of the counterweight killings?
I have not.
Nothing at all? Heard about any ritualistic killings in Ankh-Morpork?
Again, I have not.
I was suspicious. Most religious fanatics would have turned the counterweight killings into fuel for their zealous fire. Mooncalf's silence spoke more than words. Not literally. It wouldn't be much of a silence if it spoke. I imagine silences get kicked out of school for that sort of thing. The point was, I was suspicious of Mooncalf. There was something he wasn't telling me. Do you know a troll by the name of Jasper Horst?
No.
Yeah, as you can see, he is very blunt.
I asked Mooncalf where he was when Mundy was murdered. He seemed to take it in his stride. Perhaps religious fanatics are used to being suspects in murder investigations.
I was holding a service at that time.
Where?
Here, in the sanctum of the Temple of Small Gods.
So you have witnesses.
But of course, my entire congregation saw me give a glorious sermon in honor of Anu Anu.
So you can give me the names of some of your congregation to back up your alibi.
Betray the confidence of my flock? You must think me shallow of faith, Luton, to propose such a barbaric plan of action.
Shall I take that as a no, then? I asked Mooncalf where he was when the murder took place, and he told me he was holding a sermon. I asked Mooncalf if Carlotta was in the temple when Mundy was murdered. Frankly, he didn't seem very sure. His face took on a vacant look, like someone trying to remember who won the boat race in the year of the asthmatic antelope.
Yes. Yes, I believe I saw her in the temple that night.
Does she come here often?
She is indeed a regular of the Temple of Small Gods. I myself have lectured her at great length on the virtues of the cult of Anu Anu.
Why does she come here?
Why does anyone come here, Luton? For answers. For absolution. Perhaps simply out of boredom. But mostly for something to give her life a meaning.
What makes you think life has a meaning?
20 million zealots can't all be wrong.
There are 20 million members of your cult?
Not of this cult, but every religion is testament to the quest for meaning, even if our cult is the only true religion.
Don't you feel like you're just servicing a group of selfish, self-obsessed, half-wit deities whose ability to survive without you is considerably less than your ability to survive without them?
Watch your tongue, Luton. Talk like an atheist and you can expect a lightning bolt to strike you where you least expect.
I'll take my chances. Well, I'll be on my way.
I'll be here should you choose to repent. Did I tell you that we're giving away free tea towels to anyone who joins this week?
Oh, yes.
I have some more questions.
Ask them, if you must.
Before we leave, let's ask about the charm. Maybe not the coin.
I had a feeling that Mundy's coin was important, and I wasn't about to show it to just anyone. I had a feeling that the envelope wasn't something I should discuss with everyone I met. This mean anything to you?
Puh! A child's charm bracelet, nothing compared to the power of Anu Anu.
Alright, well, that was worth it. We are done here for now. We will return later. Let's go and visit the archaeologists and see what they have to say.